show you. And I want you to be excited about the things you see, but then I need you to quiet back down as quickly as you can so I can show you more stuff. I call those my ooh-ah moments. On the count of 3, I want everybody to practice going, ooh, ah, and then being as quiet as you can. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ooh, ah. Great, but you know, I've been doing this program so long, nobody ever goes, ooh, ah. They look at those things I'm holding, they go, whoa! So we're going to practice doing that on the count of 3. Everybody go, whoa, and get real quiet. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa! Great, now I can show you all my stuff. Putting up their noses, they think they know what this is. By the time I get this far, I say, how many of you have dogs and cats at home? When I say that, you know exactly what this is. This is a piece of dinosaur poop. Oh, I can't believe you go through the library. I'll tell you what, on the count of 3, everybody go ew together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ew! Very good. Yep, that's a piece of dino, dude. But really, it's an important fossil. First of all, it's important because it is a trace fossil. It shows us that something was there. It's also very important because it teaches us how fossils are formed. They're formed by a process we call permineralization, which is a big, long, fancy word that means petrification, which is a big, long, fancy word that means it's been turned into stone. It's of a baby mammoth. Now, mammoths really didn't like Michigan. Michigan was covered by lots and lots of trees. These guys like to eat grass. What they would do is they'd reach their trunk down to the ground, and Jurassic Park is not real. In the movie Jurassic Park, there was a creature called the Velociraptor. And the Velociraptor stood 6 feet tall, and it ran around the island chasing Lex and Timmy and Ellen and Ellie. The real Velociraptor was not 6 feet tall. The real Velociraptor was the size of a German Shepherd. And this is the skull of a Velociraptor. But when you make a Hollywood movie, you want to make it big and scary. So for Hollywood, the Velociraptor was 6 feet tall, but really he was the size of a German Shepherd. But you can't have a bunch of little dinosaurs biting people on the toes. That's not very scary. So for the movie, he was 6 feet tall, but really he was the size of a German Shepherd. On Earth that have a skull that looks like this. That means they're very rare. If this was a real Velociraptor skull, it'd be worth about $1 million. Well, if I can't afford to drop a $10,000 T-Rex tooth, I sure can't afford to drop $1 million skull, so it's a model. You can see that evidence in the ground when we started peeling the rock away. So now paleontologists are thinking, maybe dinosaurs are still on Earth today. Maybe dinosaurs turned into birds. Well, why not, though? They came up with the myths and legends of dragons. There were no dragons on Earth at the time, but they found these giant bones and said, maybe King Arthur killed all the dragons with his giant sword. Go to China. The Chinese have been finding giant bones in the ground for 5,000 years. They had no idea what they were, so they came up with the myths and legends of dragons. Well, kind of take a look over here at this post and tell me, if you were an ancient person living 5,000 years ago, if you would also have to come up with some sort of a weird story why these creatures existed, you may have come up with dragons. You ready? This is a skull of a Pachycephalosaurus. This is a model. If this was a real skull, it would be worth about $200,000. Wow. Well, this is a Pachycephalosaurus. If you look at dragons, dragons got these big sharp beaks. This guy's got a sharp beak. If you look at dragons, sometimes they have spikes on their nose. This one's got spikes on his nose. If you look at dragons, dragons have got spikes on the back of their head. He's got spikes on the back of his head.